Welcome to this presentation on Code of Ethics. We'll be speaking about ethics and their implication in our professional life thereby. So, exactly speaking, what is Code of Ethics? I will try to draw from two similar societies the Code of Ethics and how do they compare with each others and vis-a-vis point of complexity, or should I say point of conflict, if there are any. We would like to discuss it around, or probably I would like to raise it in the mind of the audience on this video. How important is adopting a code of ethics? Essentially, this relates to the objectives, objections to the codes, the history of an engineering code of ethics, with an example of a Bay Area rapid transport system. Can closer look at the two code ethics that I've already stated around resolving an internal conflict with the codes. The example thereof, can codes and professional society protect employees? If so, how? And other types of code of ethics. Definitely, yes, at the time of a working and a professional life, there are times when there is a conflict within the organization and the individual. So the organization states something, the individual has a different opinion about it, and probably both are right. So there, this conflict, or this is where the conflict of interest or code of ethics does follow. So exactly speaking, what is code of ethics? It is an aspect of professional societies, and it expresses the rights and duties, responsibilities of member in these societies, as the case might be. These codes are not limited to professional organization. It can also be found in corporation and universities alike. If you say so, that is what has been done out here. So that is what the code of ethics is all about. It provides a framework for an ethical judgment as in what is right and what is legal. At times there are certain things which is legal but is not right. No codes can cover all possible ethical situations that a professional engineer will face in his or her career, and it need not be resembling an engineering. It can be a doctor's. Do you want to continue with the life of a patient, knowing fully well that this is a terminal patient altogether, and it is only going to cost money for the family? Do you elongate the life and increase the business of the hospital with the futile objectives of just ballooning the patient's bill amount? And at the end of the day, maybe a week, maybe a month, maybe 2 months before the patient actually expires, or calling it a shot, put on down the factuals in front of the family and ask their opinion about it. So what needs to be done? Rather, it serves as a starting point for this ethical decision making. So what a point I wanted to make around it in the professional lives, and need not be engineers, it can be doctors, need not be doctors, it can be an accountant, need not be any profession for that matter. There are conflicting issues which are ethically, morally, and legally are in conflict with each other. Define the roles and responsibilities of professionals thereby. So it doesn't, I repeat, it doesn't create a new ethical principle. It's just one of situations. They simply repeat principles that are already accepted as responsible engineering practice. Is not a recipe for ethical behavior, is not a substitute for sound judgment, and is definitely not a legal document per se. Now, so code of ethics amplifies everywhere, right from the front of the medicine, from an accountant perspective, from an engineering perspective, from transmission perspective, and any nitty-gritties of information technologies as the case might be. And I've just tried to draw from various walks of life. People get ethically, morally, legally conflicting situations, and that is what code of ethics is all about. It. So why adopting code of ethics? Why is it so important? So, allow me to elaborate. Helps create an environment with a professional where ethical behavior is the norms. Probably you need to understand how do you need to promote a sale through unethical means. Unethical means compromising of the quality but giving a huge brokerages or huge margin to the dealer. That's an unethical. But at the end of the day, it's your sales are getting enhanced. Or giving quality product and absolutely very low minimal margin to the dealer. Again, your sales might improve because you're giving not only value for money, even the money is very less. So people might flock towards it and sale increases. Now, what needs to be done? In either of the cases, situation that I have said it to you front is to enhance the sale. The end objective doesn't change, but the processes that we follow actually changes, serves as a guide or a reminder of how to act in a specific situation. Can also bolster the individual position by indicating that there is a sense, collective sense, if I may say so, of the right behavior. Can indicate to others the profession is already very serious about his or her responsibility, about his or her conduct per se. So objection to the codes, what are they? Allow me to go around it, and I'll give you an example in a moment's time. All the code of ethics are widely used in plentiful of organization. There are many objections to it also. Relatively few practicing engineers are members of professional societies and so don't necessarily feel compelled to abide by these codes. Many engineers are not aware of this existence of the society codes, or if they are aware of it, they have never used it. They never read it. Engineering code often have internal conflict, but don't have the methods of resolving the conflict then and there. How do we go around it? So engineering codes have often internal conflict. Allow me to quote some. Let's say the history of engineering codes of ethics. Professional Engineering Society in United States began to be organized in absolute late 19th century, with new societies created a new engineering field and have developed in this centuries. As these societies matured, many of them created code of ethics just as a guiding principle for the practicing engineer. Early in the current century, their codes were mostly concerned with the issues as to how to conduct the business. Giving an example, let's say prohibiting competitive bidding by engineers in for their design project. Competitive, absolutely, equal amount of sum of money, equal amount of terms and condition, and so on and so forth. Codes are spelled out the duties that the engineers had forwarded the employers. Probably that is what we go around it, and people might spill the beans. Less emphasis than today was given to the issue of services to public safety. But all of this has changed greatly in recent years. Most attention became directed towards safety, public health, environmental protection as an important duties of an engineer. That is what we are looking forward to it. So allow me to give the codes of ethics and two codes of ethics that we would be discussing. The first one is of IEEE, or Institute of Electric and Electronics Engineering. The next one will be of NSPE, National Society for Professional Engineer. The logo has been mentioned out here, IEEE and NSPE, the National Society Professional Engineer. Now, their code of ethics in the subsequent slides. The IE state it should be short and deals in generalities. NSP code says much longer, much detailed, everything elaborated. IEEE code says doesn't mention a duty to an employer. NSP, on the other hand, says has a preamble that succinctly presents the duties of an engineers before going on to the more explicit discussion of the rest of the code. So it's a much various, detailed, in-depth version of it. IEEE code says mention the duty to protect the environment. Sustainability is one of those priorities there. NSP, on the other hand, says mention that engineer's duty is to his or probably her employer only, as in whoever is giving the salary, whichever company they are working for, their responsibility towards the company comes the first one. So now allow me to come up with the code of ethics or the conflict where it comes around it. One objection to the code of ethics is the internal conflict that can be existing with no instruction as to how to resolve it. Let's say there is no implication in this or other code that all clauses are equally important. Rather, there is a hierarchy within the codes. Some clauses take precedence over others, although there is generally no explicit indication in a code what is the hierarchy. Example, if an employer asks or even orders an engineer to implement a design that the engineer feel is unsafe, should you go ahead with it? What does NSP code says? In clause number 1.4, it says that NSP code indicate engineers have duties towards the employers. Towards the employers. In clause number 1.1, the preamble makes it clear that the safety of the public is of utmost concern for the engineer. So don't you think there are two things the employer has asked to design, go for a design which the engineer feel is unsafe, And as far as the code of ethics goes, the first thing, responsibilities, as far as 1.4 clauses says, the engineers has all the answerability, accountability towards the employers. But in clause number 1.1, it makes clear that public safety is of utmost importance. So there is this confusion, code of ethics. The duty is to protect the safety of the public is paramount and takes precedence over the duty towards the employer per se. So can courts and professional society protect employees? The question comes around here. Can they protect employees? At times they can, at times they cannot. Functions. Let's say protect the rights of the employees who have been pressured by the employers to do unethical behaviors. Pressured, absolutely. Protect the employers from who are accusing them as a government of unethical conduct. So at times people take advantages of the code of ethics to put blames on each other, and that is what needs to be avoided as the case might be. An example, let me give you an example to for having a full understanding of this situation. Action of IEEE on behalf of three electrical engineers who were fired from their jobs at a Bay Area Rapid Transit BART. Again, I repeat, Bay Area Rapid Transit Organization is basically a metro station or metro railway that we are talking around it. When they pointed out deficiency in the way the control system for BART trains are were been designed and tested. So engineers were not very confident, sufficient, or happy with how control system of BART trains were designed and tested. And now these three engineers were fired. Just to give you an indication, this is the pick of the BART transit, Bay Area Rapid Transit System. So after being fired, the engineers sued BART, the company, citing IEEE codes in which impel them to hold as their primary concern the safety of the public, which would be using BART system. Now, out here, the IEEE intervene on the behalf of the count. Although ultimately the engineer lost the case as the scenario is all about it. this is these are the life situation that comes around, and people need to understand time and again as to what is happening. So other types of code of ethics, many organizations have developed code of ethics similar to those of professional engineers organization. For example, the codes of ethical use of computers, the codes of ethics inside university, the codes of usage of social media, and so on and so forth. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the very end.